So on to our event for today. I'm really pleased to be introducing our first speaker because she's also a good old friend of mine. We went to university together, so it's really lovely to be working with her. Dr. Romena Toki is a project manager at Clyde, Central London Youth Development, and she's been working on various projects engaging young Bangladeshis in their identity. Romena coordinated the legacy of women's contributions in 1971, a project capturing for the first time the role of women in the UK in the war effort. Romena also happens to work as a clinical psychologist in Tower Hamlets, actually based right next door to us. So it's been really lovely working with her in her day job as well. So Romena will be in conversation with Ms. Shefali Haque, who was one of the youngest female activists participating in the Bangladeshi liberation movement in the UK. Romena will introduce her more fully shortly. They will be in conversation for about 40 minutes or so, and then we will open up to questions from the audience. If you have any questions, please do pop them into the chat box, even during the session, that's fine. But please do stay muted. If you do want to vocalize your questions at the end, we will have an opportunity to raise hands and do so. So I'm going to hand it over to Romena, and she's going to give you a quick presentation about the project itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Halima. It's always a pleasure to work with Halima. Since we're young, she's always been such a joy to have around and has always been, promoting Bangladeshi heritage and encouraging loads of us young people to, well, when we were young, younger, to learn about our heritage. She's always been so motivated. So it's great to see a fellow sister in this field and promoting our heritage. So yeah, what I'll do is I'm gonna do a quick presentation on the organization that I work for, one of the organizations I work for. Yeah, if you have any questions, please do ask. So when we initially started this project, it was part of an organization I work for called Central London Youth Development. Just to give you an overview, Central London Youth Development is, it was originally an organization for young people, but has definitely broadened to include, parents and families and just anybody in the community really, but majority working with minority communities. And one of the reasons that we felt that this project would be particularly useful to the community was that we recognized that we had a large population of young people from the Bangladeshi community and who knew very little about Bangladesh and knew very little about the Bangladeshi independence struggle, the history, the rich history of Bangladesh. And we felt that actually getting them involved in collecting these stories, collecting this history, is really part of building their identity and then playing a role in preserving this history for them. So we had multiple aims when we started the project. On one hand, it was collecting this history that had never been collected before. But on the other hand, it was about equipping a generation of young people with the skills to collect their history. So we had multiple aims. As I said, I won't go into it too much, but just to give you an overview of what our aims were. It wasn't just about collecting history. That was one part of it. It was really about strengthening relationships between communities and between generations. So we had the young generation interviewing the elders in the community, which you'll find out more about. And we said one of the values of that is that we never really asked the stories of the elders in our community, but those stories hold so much value for us. And we wanted to create a platform where those stories can be honored and collected in something more permanent, so in the form of a book, so that it can then be passed on. So I can see Ansar Sasa online here. He played a massive role in really helping to develop this foundation of knowledge for us from the Swadhanatha Trust. Ansar Sasa helped us really gain an understanding of Bangladeshi heritage and history in terms of the partition, in terms of, you know, just the colonial history, to give us some context before we started on the project. And that was one of the ways that we engaged the local community, actually, by holding these events in the community about Bangladesh history. And one of the ways that we engage young people was by telling them that actually, you know, this is a work experience opportunity for you. This is an opportunity for you to have a written publication, for you to be involved in collecting history, for you to develop skills in research. But, you know, and it's about research that's meaningful for you. I think we can all agree that, you know, a lot of the times in school, the history that we're taught is, you know, a part of our history is often missing from those educational spaces. So, so this would be an opportunity for us to learn something that's very meaningful for us, something that we can connect with, and something that we can pass on. So it was a very long community project. It ran for over a year and had several different stages. If any of you do get the chance to read the book that we published, you'll notice that we didn't enforce any sort of rigid academic methodologies. I think Halima and I, we both have sort of changing sort of feelings towards that. I think as we've become more experienced in research, there are times where we felt that, oh my God, like, you know, this has so many methodological errors in this. But we also agreed that actually this is very representative of community research. Community research that is very meaningful. By not having those academic structures, it meant that we were able to, you know, just to tell our stories, to tell the stories of our elders in a very authentic way, in a meaningful way. And it gave us a lot of freedom. It helped us build skills. It was, you know, it was very empowering not to have those structures, if anything. So at the time we were just undergrads, weren't we, Halima, when we were doing this? So we'd never done any sort of formal academic research. We were just learning, and we were kind of just trying our best with it. I won't go into this too much, but in terms of how the project worked was that we did have a training element in it, but we tried to be very broad in terms of how we developed that training. So we had trainers from the British Library who gave us sort of an overview of how to conduct sort of oral history research, and they helped us develop a very brief questionnaire, sort of interview schedule that we can use with interviewers. But I think the main message was that go back to your families, go back to the elders in your community, and just listen to their stories and ask what feels natural for you. And then we were the ones who translated a lot of it, and then obviously put it into these publications. So we have 2 publications to date. We have the Legacy of Women's Contribution, which is what we'll be talking about today. But following that, we then collected the stories of parents who migrated here in the 60s and 70s. So to date, we've done two publications. I'd like to invite you to have a read of some of the extracts from a few of from both of those publications. So the format of our books was that we collected all the stories, but we divided all the quotes within different themes within the book. So these are some of our you know, just some of the extracts from both books. So I'll give you a moment just to have a read. So FIY and FIW means Faces in Westminster, and TLOWC is the Legacy of Women's Contribution. Maybe Halima, give me a nod when you've had a read. I never know how to time these things.
I've read the whole book. I've got it on my right here.
Well, you wrote it. I think what we acknowledged was that, especially in terms of collecting these stories, these members of our community, you know, they were getting older, so these stories were at risk of being lost. So we're so grateful we had the chance to meet some of these people. So Nora Sharif, Ustar Ali, they've actually passed away now. I think Nora passed away. I think our interview was one of the last interviews that Nora had done before she'd passed away. She was an Irish lady who was also, you know, who married a Bangladeshi, who actually moved to Bangladesh for a while, learnt Bangla, could speak Bangla better than any of us, and played such an incredible role in helping to raise awareness about what was happening in Bangladesh, and supporting the liberation. So Ustar Ali was actually my granddad, my nanazi. He was one of the first who migrated here, and again played such a fundamental role in helping Bangladeshi settle in the UK, in Westminster. So just a few more quotes. Let's give you guys a minute. So on, you know, I think one of the most incredible parts of this of this whole experience is that, you know, we got to hear a side of our elders that we'd never heard before. You know, we got to hear about how they were part of the liberation struggle in such creative ways, you know, that we just wouldn't know of. I think now there's the internet, there's, you know, there's we have phones, we have technology, which means when it comes to hearing about sort of marches or forms of like activism, getting involved in it, you know, it's much more easily shared now. But at the time, you know, those things didn't exist. So it was incredible to hear how people came together to support it. I think we were really amazed by that. So as you can see here, Kulsumullah, you know, Auntie, she said, you know, it was literally hearing word of mouth that she's walking around in the market, you know. You know, these, you know, they were just looking for any type of avenues to get involved. They were so passionate about this, and was so creative in terms of how they supported the liberation. So we were really amazed by that. We were amazed by that bravery and the creativity and the passion. So here are a few quotes from our young people, a couple of them who are not as young as they were 10 years ago, who are here today. So Tahmid Afzal, I see you guys there. Yeah, I think these are just some of the quotes from some of our young people who took part, and just how the experience is so valuable for them. And, you know, even for myself, I think taking part in this, you know, really helped shape my identity, shaped my understanding of being a British Bangladeshi. You know, we spend so many of our early years really, you know, sometimes really rejecting that part of our identity because it doesn't match what we see on TV and what we see around us. But being involved in something like this, you know, it helped develop a part of myself that, you know, that wouldn't have been developed, I think, had these opportunities not been there. It gave me an opportunity to learn that part of my, you know, I come from a generation of people who were freedom fighters, and, you know, who were so passionate about Bangla. It taught me the relevance of learning Bangla, really motivated me to learn Bangla, to speak in Bangla and speak it with pride, you know. So if anybody does ever have the chance to get involved in projects like this, I strongly recommend it. Not only are you involved in collecting a part of your history that could be lost, but it's also an opportunity for you to learn about yourself and use that, you know, when you're relating to others within your community, a really nice sense of belonging when we're taking part in these projects. So yeah, so some of our outcomes from doing this project, there was this experience of feeling empowered, feeling liberated, as I said, the personal identity, feeling a sense of belonging, developing relationships with other Bangladeshis in the community, those of our generation, but also those elder. It's incredible because a lot of the people that took part in this project are actually working in these fields now. So Halima, as a prime example, somebody who took part in this project, you know, during her undergrad, now works in research, you know, and you know, a lot of the people that were involved in this use this as an opportunity to gain skills that added to their professional identity. You know, we know about the microaggressions in sort of developing professional identities. So being involved in something like this really helps to raise our profiles as well. And it definitely did. It also helped us learn about other community organizations. So Ansar Sasa from the Swadhanatha Trust, learning about their work and working alongside them. I think, you know, one of the issues that we have with research is we do the research and then research is done, that's it, it's now on the bookshelf. But we tried not to do that. We really tried to promote our work in different ways. So we've presented it at festivals, psychology festivals, but we've also been on TV. And just events like this have been really crucial in terms of promoting the stories of our elders. So we're really grateful for them and welcome them at every opportunity. What we also try to do is develop some materials for local schools as well. So young children in primary education can learn about their history very early on as part of the curriculum. That's one of the things that we've been trying to promote. I mean, just like with any sort of community project, we faced our fair share of challenges. You know, working with young people, being a young person, you know, these, yeah, there are always challenges. We rely on a lot of voluntary support. But yeah, I think the benefits definitely outweighed that. So yeah, did anybody, I don't know, Halima, is there an opportunity now for people to ask questions?
I think we will leave questions until the end. So yeah, if anyone does have any questions around the project, its methodology, some of you have already started commenting on sort of what an amazing project it is, and you know, sharing opportunities like this across the board. So we'll have a chance at the end to take questions to both our speakers. But I think, yeah, it would be lovely to hear from Auntie now. So Romena, would you introduce Auntie, please?
It would be my pleasure to introduce Auntie Shefali. As I don't know, Halima, if you've already mentioned, but Auntie used to be my Bangla teacher when I was a tyrant. When we had Bangla school every Saturday. She was very influential in teaching, you know, a whole generation of British Bangladeshi second generation kids how to read, write and speak in Bangla. I always remember her friendly face, and when I think of Bangla school, I always think of Auntie because of how supportive she was to us. But what was more incredible was that this project gave me an opportunity to hear about Auntie's involvement in the 1971 War of Independence and how she contributed to that. And I think that was just a different experience. And, you know, she became quite the role model in terms of teaching us young people, you know, about how activism was just in our blood, and, you know, fighting for liberation, you know, was something that has been passed on to us. You know, we have a very strong history, we have a very rich history. and interviewing Auntie. So I got to interview Auntie, which was such a pleasure. You know, that was just a phenomenal experience. We struggle to find role models, but Auntie definitely has been a role model for us. So I'm so excited to be part of this. I'm so grateful that you've made the time to be here with us, Auntie. Thank you very much. So yeah.
Romena, sorry to interrupt. I'm afraid Auntie's gonna have to unmute herself, or you will have to do that for her.
Okay, I'll be right back.
So yeah, this is how you do it during the pandemic years. Separate rooms, same house, and
there you go.
Tech support. Thank you so much, Romena.
Okay, so Auntie Shefali, welcome. We are actually in the same house. Is it okay if you can start by telling us about when you came to London, and a bit about what things were like during that time, and what... I'll ask you the next question after that, actually. Let's start with that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for having me in your program. Nice to meet everybody. And I think আমার খুব সৌভাগ্য যে তোমাদের সাথে আমি বসতে পারছি এবং তোমরা যে আমাকে মনে করেছো তার জন্য তোমাদেরকে আমি অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ। হ্যাঁ, তো সবাইকে আমার শুভেচ্ছা, লাল পতাকার শুভেচ্ছা। আশা করি তোমরা সবাই ভালো আছো। তো তখনকার দিনে আমি যখন আসি তখন তো আমি অনেক ছোট ছিলাম।
Is it okay if you can speak in English?
হ্যাঁ?
Auntie, are you okay to speak in English? Because we have a lot of English speakers on here.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Carry on. Carry on, Auntie.
Okay. Thank you for having me in your program. I am very lucky that you have called me. I'm very, very warmed about that. And thank you, everybody, that thinking of me and inviting me to your program. I'm really happy and very glad. And then I would like to tell you that when I came here, I was very young, and I just came as I got married here, and then I was joined with my husband, and then I had a child who was that time 1971. He was 2 years old. So there's a trouble going on in Bangladesh. My father called me and told me that we are in such a situation that there's a war going to happen. And then I started very panicked that what is going to happen, because we got brother and sister, they're all young. And my father is a government officer. And I was always thinking that if I have 4 brothers, I think if the army comes and take them away, what is going to happen? All this nightmare, I used to wake up at night and I was thinking, oh my God, is my daddy is all right? My brothers and sisters and the neighbors, are they okay? All the time, panic, because I haven't got a clue that what is going to happen. So all of a sudden I heard there's a war going on. So it was extremely painful for me that I'm not seeing anybody, neither I can travel. That was not the time to travel. So every time telephone rings, I think, oh, something happened. So there was a lady who lived around us, which was in Notting Hill Gate, Bayswater, Mrs. Box. And she called me and she said, Shefali, I think it's this is the time, wake up. Please come and help us, because there's a war going on. We need you, because if you don't come, there will be no help, because we need lots of women to help other women to collect and raise the fund to help everyone. So I was thinking, of course, I will do anything you like. I will do whatever my ability. So the time came when the war started. It was terrible to hear that people are scattered from everywhere. So my family was okay, but because my father lived in a government flat, he was fine. there was no problem. But there was by the surrounding the young boys, there was a problem. Lots of young boy was missing. I was thinking of my brothers because I had 4 brothers. So I just come and stay here in my own house because my husband was a businessman. He had a restaurant in Westbourne Grove. And I was thinking, what can I do? And I need to help. I need to help and go for help. And the lady, Mrs. Box, Jebunasa Box, she was like my mother to me. She was really, really lovely lady. And she is the one I salute her, the work she has done for Bangladesh Independence Day. So she involved me thoroughly. She asked me to stay with her, and then she asked me to mail the letter. She asked me to, she said, we're going to organize a meeting that you can collect, all the ladies can come to her house and say, that how we can help our country, so because there's a lot of money needs, fund needs, clothes needs, everything we need. So what can we do? How are we going to help? So the lady asked me if I can go door to door and ask people to come to the meeting, because there is a few ladies live around by us, the Westbourne Grove, and they have a restaurant. All the restaurants owners lady, I have to go and ask them, please come to our meeting, think about our country, the things about our women, mom, sister, they are all dying, they are raped, the army is raping them, come and have your voice. So I have to collect all the ladies from around us and bringing to Mrs. Box's house or my house in the restaurant, up the restaurant. The ladies are, some people, some husbands, they do not like to join their wife. They doesn't want me to join their wives, bring their wife to our house because they are not very sure. So I have to convince the people to please, I will take them, I'll bring them, I'll take them back. So this is, I used to do that. They used to come, join with the meeting, join with the coffee, and then we used to say, please help us and we will help our country. This is the way we can be helped, raising the money, sending the clothes, arranging the procession, all these things we used to do that. And also we have lots of function, like I used to sing a lot with the other people as a chorus singer. I used to participate all the events. Whenever any events come, I'm there because I think people needs me, because if I don't do anything, I would be ashamed that my country needs help. So I went out of my way and helped people, like organizing the fundraising, the meeting, the cultural show. This is, I used to do that. And then we used to have fundraising. How are we going to do the fundraising? We used to go and ask people if you can, donate some money. So this is the way it went. People generously donated the money, and then we'd put that money to our embassy, and they did. I think they have sent the money to the Bangladesh. And then again, there's a very big crisis about the food, about the children's clothes. So what happened? I used to go and with my baby's pushchair to collect all the old clothes and go and ask the people unwanted clothes, So we brought those clothes and then washed them, ironed them, because Mrs. Box asked us, because I obviously cannot wash all the clothes myself. So we share. A lot of ladies share and took it to the washing machine by the laundrette by our house. So we used to bring them in and then iron them, fold them, pack them, and take it to the Bangladesh embassy. And they have sent all these clothes to the refugee center. We used to do that day and night, non-stop we worked. And then not only work, we have to go charity show, do the charity And then we have to do the dinner show that people come and buy the ticket, £2, or those days was a pound or things. We have collected so much money and clothes and everything, whatever they need. I think we did a lot. I remember so much, because lot of things to be done. Not only collecting money, we have to call the people, mailing the people, leaflet. We are printing the leaflet and sending them and distributing standing by the cinema hall. When we had the cinema show, we used to give the leaflet, giving the leaflet to the people. And then we had the event in Hyde Park Corner that people came and give us a speech, Peter show, and all the MPs from the parliament, they came and give the speeches. Those time we are standing, did the procession and all this, and then sending the leaflet, sending the things. We are looking for money, how we can be helped, because it is not possible for Bangladesh government to help people themselves. We have to help from the foreign country. So we did our best to help our government, sending money, sending clothes, sending foods. It was extremely difficult because there was a war. So through shipment, many ways we helped. And I was everywhere, no matter what. My child was only young, but my husband helped me a lot, because he also helped lots of people, because he closed the restaurant and he had a meeting with Peter Shaw, Justice Sai Choudhury, all because the embassy was near our house, which was Notting Hill Gate, Pembridge Garden, 24 Pembridge Garden. Temporarily, there was an embassy. So all these people used to come to our restaurant and had a meeting. And it was really bad time, because everybody was worried, scared, nervous, because they were thinking their family dying, family missing, this sort of things we had to go through. Although I was very young, but I didn't feel any young. I felt that my country need to survive. So I went door to door, asking people help, asking people for their support, asking the women to come with us to the procession. All this, we have to do it. And some people are very, very, very supportive. They came with us. All the women came, although their husband didn't want. So I have to go and convince to them, please let your wife to come with us, and we'll take them, we'll bring you back. And they trusted us, and they given their ladies to come with us to the procession. And all this event, wherever we went, we took the women with us. That's it really. And we felt that Bangladesh needed us. And we did our best, whatever we can from here. Although people have a lot of say, lot of, what we can do, how can we be helped, which way we can help. So it's not only fundraising, we help their support many ways, organizing the charity show, organizing fundraising, going people to people, going to the parliament, procession, everywhere. So I am now happy that our country has been recognized as independent. We are proud that Bangladesh has born again, and we are happy to be there. And it is my country. I am proud to be Bangladeshi.
Thank you, Auntie. I think, I have so many questions, and every time you speak, I want to know all of the details. One of the things that I remember last time we spoke is just about talking about the fact that you were working with non-Bangladeshis as well, weren't you, at the time?
Yes, there was a lot of people, they're asking. Sometime I used to people used to call Paki, So no. Pakistan is our country, like this. So we have to ignore that. Definitely their lack of knowledge. So yeah, people are from those days. Some people doesn't know what is Bangladesh. We have to teach them. We have to let them know this is our country, this is flag. I used to carry a little flag with me and show, this is, look, this is Bangladesh. Oh, your country, Bangladesh. Where is Bangladesh? You know, like that people used to ask. So it was people knew that there was a war going on, you know. So we have to educate people, to teach people this is Bangladesh, this is going to happen. And some people are very, very good. And they used to give, you know, they said, here's a pound for you. You know, I said, don't give it in my hand. You know, this is the box, you know, so put it in there. So we collect some money, and that money, Mrs. Box, I used to give it to her, and she used to take those money to the embassy or whoever organizing the money matters. You know, they take up. Actually, we didn't collected money collected by hand. No, money was not involved with us, but we collected a lot of money for the people, you know, like we had a box, you know, people put it in the box, That's the way we did the collecting the fund.
Thank you. So Auntie, tell me about Mrs. Baksh. So how did you know her? Who was she?
Oh, I came because she was a teacher in Bangladesh government school. She was a headmistress called Kamrunesa School. And I was educated in Bangla Bazar school in Bangladesh, Dhaka. So I came here when I was, she arranged my marriage, not arranged my marriage. I had to get married to her house because she was friend of my husband's, because she is older lady. And she was anybody young, everybody call her Bhabi, you know, and she hasn't got no children. She never had a children. So whoever young girls, young boys come to her house, she always treat as if she is their mother, you know. And she treat me as like I'm her daughter. She was fantastic woman. I really miss her. Unfortunately, she's mother to so many people, so many girls. She given the job, she given the house, she given the lot of things. She created a job for them, you know. She tell them where to go, how to get the job, you know, how to write. Because she was a teacher back home in Bangladesh. So she knows, she has a full of knowledge how to show the people a straight path, you know, straight way, that this is the way you can go, this is the way you don't go. She direct us, you know, very nice lady. And I know her through my husband, and I came her house to get married that day. You know, they call the Molbi, you know, whatever, you know, the Kaji, it's called Kaji Sahib, I think. And that day I was married, 26th of May.
It sounds like, you know, at the time you were dealing with so many different things. So on one hand, you were dealing with settling in this country, dealing with the racism, having to educate people about Bangladesh, about where you were from. And on the other hand, you were trying to fight for Bangladesh at the same time. So it sounds like being part of, you know, groups like with Mrs. Baksh, you know, these played a very important role in helping you to, you know, to do something that was very important for you. Was there a big Bangladeshi community where you were, Auntie?
Not much. Only the restaurants, people who owns the restaurant, their wives and their sisters, children surrounded, but not many Bangladeshi people who are surrounded by Notting Hill Gate. Not many people. The people who are the restaurants owner or people who are students, their wives who comes here. So we organized that, you know, their wives and they rented the house. Those people who rented in Bayswater, Lancaster Gate, Ladbroke Grove. So some students are there. They came from Bangladesh. So their wives, like Sharif Bhai's wife, you know, they used to look Mrs. Box's house up on the top of the house. So Sharif Bhai came to my wedding, and his wife Nora Sharif. So I know them for many years. And the Nora Sharif Bhai is like my big brother. They are very, very nice people. And the Mrs. Nora Sharif always involved. And Nora Sharif, the day she died, before she died, a couple of months ago, she invited me to Bangla Radio for my interview. And she always remember that I'm there to go with her and go with the meeting, go any event. She always involves me, and she never forgets that. And I really miss her, and really miss Mrs. Box and Nora Bhabi. She always treat me like a little girl, you know. And Sharif Bhai always say, "Oh, this is my little sister is here," you know. So I remember those people, Manik Chaudhary, you know, all these people who are surrounded by us. I had a good time. And I think I felt for my country that I should not be sitting down. I should fight. I should help. Why shouldn't I be doing things while they need us? They need people, you know. So from London to Bangladesh, whatever we can, we did. And inshallah, we will do. Still, we will do. If they need me, definitely. I don't think so they need me anymore. There's so many people now.
There's so much to learn from you, though. And I think one of the questions that we've had is actually, how did you connect with so many Bangladeshis? How did you hear about them?
Oh, because of the restaurant people we had, all the restaurants owner, Lancaster Gate and Queensway and other things, Queensway, and all these Bangladeshi people who had a restaurant. So we go to their house, you know, door to door, find out that who the West London, who's who's living in there. So we go door to door, and butcher shop, grocery shop they have. So we used to knock, you know, and, you know, welcome ourselves, you know, and then they get very timid, you know, because I'm unknown why they were coming and knocking our door to go to judo. Our wife going to the judo. I said, no, we are coming here to help you. If you don't help us, we are not getting any help. Just you need moral support. We need moral support. And they realized, and then they said, no. And I said, no, say yes. Say yes, and we want to take you right. And they came. Very nice, they came. Because you have to know the technique to bring them out. Because all of a sudden, if you say that, definitely they will not come with you. So you have to convince the husband first, then wives comes, you know. But it was very nice. Everybody was supported. Very good. I'm glad.
Auntie, at the time, did you connect with any Bangladeshis outside of London?
Outside of London, no, not really. Because when we had the meeting, people's house, so we invited, you know, come. And then people used to come from outside of London.
And the reason I asked is because at the time when we were doing our research, we found out that actually there were loads of Bangladeshi women who were in Birmingham who were also doing a lot of similar work.
Yeah.
And I think we were interested to find out if there was any connection between these groups, or if it was just too hard at the time because there was no internet.
It was too hard. It was too hard at the time. Yeah. But people came, and people introduced themselves. I'm from Birmingham. I'm from Nottingham. You know, we have a, you know, groups down there. So we came to meet you all. Yeah, there was a time people came. Yes. So far I remember. Yes.
So Auntie, at the time, did you attend any marches? So you said that you went.
Yes, a lot of marches. Yeah, in Hyde Park, marches, Downing Street, and Parliament. Yes, definitely there was a march. Otherwise, people would not know what is the march for. What is this ladies are doing it? What is they have big placard in their hand? You know, this is called Recognized Bangladesh. Definitely from the Trafalgar Square up to the mall, you know, we walked through. Yes, because there was a big demonstration like Peter Shaw and Sam Douglas, you know, Donald Chesworth, because they are the customers of my husband's. They used to come have a meal in our restaurant. So the Donald Chejwart, he arranged all this Peter Shaw and other member of the parliament. They came, and because our Justice Saib was coming and going, you know, so he was there as well. So we had lots of support from British Parliament, you know, that was really good. So we did march, yes.
Lovely, thank you. Auntie, when you left Bangladesh, did you know that there was going to be a war? Did you know about?
No, but I knew very little, because there's a lot of things going on, rumor going on. We were going to a war. We were going to have a war. And then I came. I knew there was something going on, very hot time. You know, there's a rumor, there's a war. People used to say, war going to come. And then I said, what war? He said, no, Pakistani people are going to take this country over, and there will be a big war. If we don't go and if we don't do anything, we're going to be under them. So these bits and pieces I used to hear, but unfortunately, those time, luckily, I left Bangladesh to get married, to come over here. And after I came, there was a war. And sometimes I feel I came back, but I left my family back, and always thinking that my family, relatives, how they're going to go. And lots of my dad used to live where we used to live in the government flat. And our daddy's next door man has been taken away, and they killed him and their son. Since I heard that, because I met them all the time when I was in Bangladesh, and it was very sad things that I don't know, that is into my mind always. Maybe they will take my daddy away, maybe take my 4 brothers away. So it was worrying time, yes.
Of course, it sounds like such a worrying time.
Yeah, and I was young, and then I was thinking, oh, I will be daddy. I will not have a daddy, or I will not have a mom, or sisters, they're going to be raped, you know. So all these bad dreams, you know. But luckily, we are all okay. But the next door people passed away. Yeah, and they taken away.
How old were you at the time, Auntie?
I was 16.
Oh, you were so young, and you had a 1-year-old at the time.
Yeah, and my son was born when I was 17, something like that. 69, he was born.
So how did you manage? How did you manage with a child, and to do all of this and to be so involved?
My husband helped me a lot, and my husband also kept a nanny for me to help the child, you know, to tell the boy. So the girl came from Denmark to help me as an au pair. So I had a little bit hand, you know, so that was fine for me. When the child was about 6-7 months, when I can handle the child, so she has gone. She stayed a little bit with me to help me to go through the baby, because no knowledge of looking after the child. No. So gradually I learned.
So one of the questions that we've had is, so in the UK, what was the relationship like between Bangladeshis and West Pakistanis? Do you remember?
Yeah, they didn't like, Bangladeshi people did not like, because they are scared, because they are the people, Pakistani people are bullying us. They knew through the media. They knew, they are worried. Of course, they are not in a good relation. No, so far everywhere we go, people say, oh, they're from Pakistan. You know, Pakistan is killing all the Bangladeshi people. You know, people knew that. People had the wave, you know, to know that there's something going on, Bangladesh and Pakistan. Obviously, it was a war. People knew that. So people know that they don't want to aggravate that, but everybody kept quiet. But they know these Pakistani people are not doing very well to the Bangladesh. They are killing Bangladeshi, all the intelligence people and everybody. So they knew that. But as I'm living in West London, there's not many Pakistanis. So there's only door to door, all the Bengali people who are Bangladeshi people are living there. They are mostly students. They came for a Bharat law, accountancy, or some higher education they came. So I used to know them, and I used to go to them, and they are very good. Their wives were very supportive towards us, because this is our country. If we don't help, nothing going to happen. No achievement